Hello everyone, I'm Crystal Irby. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome to my channel. For those of you who are returning to my channel, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I just want to provide a little more detail and accuracy to the story that I told in my first video. As I mentioned before, I did not have any prior medical issues at all. Like, I was able to walk, run, swim, jump, if I had some wings, I could fly, But no, seriously, I didn't have any prior medical issues before this. And then this year, February, last month, I was diagnosed with polymyositis. To keep things simple, polymyositis is a disease that causes inflammation and weakness of the muscles. We don't know what the cause of it is. There are a great amount of symptoms. It's hard for me to get up and stand from a chair, especially like this one, like that does not have any armrest. It's hard for me to walk, I'm pretty unstable, so I can stand, but I may wobble a little bit, Granted, it is hard for me to reach overhead, and I'm actually going to talk about this a little later in the video, but I can't lift my arms past this at all. How is polymyositis diagnosed? Through blood tests, EMG tests, MRIs, and biopsy. So I got 3 out of 4. I don't know if I got the EMG or not, but I know I got the blood tests, got a few MRIs, and I got 1 biopsy. When I finally decided, okay, Crystal, let's get serious about this. Let's go to the hospital and find out what's going on. I went to Fort Washington Medical Center, and I was there for a little while, but they ended up discharging me with 2 prescriptions with ibuprofen and prednisone. They also gave me a shot for inflammation because my legs were very, very swollen. I also told them about the weakness in my arms and showed them how my hands were shaking and how it was hard to lift my arms, because back then I was able to lift them. I was just able to lift them very slow. And then they gave me a referral to an orthopedic. I called the orthopedic the next day. They told me that I needed a referral from PCP. So I went and found a PCP, a new one. I went to go see them on January 24th. I explained my symptoms and everything to them the best way that I could. So what he wanted to do, the doctor, what he wanted to do was he wanted me to get an MRI and blood work done. So right after the visit, I went over literally right across the way to schedule the MRI. And after that, I went over to LabCorp and I got blood work done. The MRI was just taking so long to be approved, and I just couldn't wait anymore. So on February 1st, I went to the hospital. I went back to the hospital. I went to Southern Maryland Hospital this time. Southern Maryland Hospital this time. And I went there. I was there for a great amount of time as well, but I was very patient, but when they finally got me to the back and they seen how I was unable to walk and, how it was hard for me to stand up, and they seen how swollen my legs were, they were like, okay, we're going to give you an MRI and an ultrasound on your legs to make sure there's no, any blood clots in your legs, and if there are any issues, hopefully the MRI shows that. So the ultrasound came back fine, the MRI came back and it showed inflammation. So that doctor, he told me that I needed to see a rheumatologist. So he also mentioned that he talked to somebody already who was in the area for me to go and visit them, as soon as possible. So I did. So I was able to go and visit that rheumatologist the next day, and I brought all paperwork to him so that he could see what was done in the hospital, in the emergency rooms and everything. He asked about CK levels. I didn't know anything about it. He checked the paperwork, but he didn't see it, so he sent me to get tested for that. After our visit, he sent me downstairs to get blood work done for my CK levels, and he also sent me down to get a chest x-ray. February 3rd, he called me back with the results. He didn't mention the chest x-ray, so I'm assuming that was okay, but he did mention that my CK levels were at 16,000. I'll insert the exact number, but they were very, very high. And he told me that I need to go to be admitted to Georgetown University Hospital the next day, which was February 4th. So it's February 4th and I am on the way to the hospital. I don't really know what to expect. I did pack my bag for a few days. I anticipated to stay only a few days. The doctor did not tell me exactly how long. I didn't know what to expect. I was very nervous but very anxious to find out, if this is indeed polymyositis. At this point, everything seems to be moving so fast. Like when everything kind of first started with the hospital and everything, like all that stuff happened within like 2 weeks or so. So a lot of thoughts are going through my head. I know that I'm probably gonna have to get a biopsy. I know that test has to be ran. I know stuff, but I don't know what to expect. That makes sense. So yeah, it was more so like an anxious feeling to kind of get there and get whatever needs to be done so that I can feel better. So when I got to the hospital, I had to check into the ER and go through the ER chronicles and everything. And then I got admitted. Now, when I got admitted into the hospital, like, it was kind of like full. It was like a lot of people there. Like, honestly, when I got to the ER, I was a little nervous because, like, when I walked back there, it was people, like, all in the hallway. Like, what in the world? Like, it was people all in the hallway sitting on hospital beds. I was like, oh no, I can't do this. I didn't say that, but because they ended up taking me to like the back, and I had privacy and everything. But yeah, when they did admit me, it was still a little crowded. So they did take me upstairs to the correct floor, but they took me to an overflow room. So the room that I was in was like it was an old office. Like, the room right directly up under me was an office. Like, I seen it myself, but it was okay. Like, I'm not picky at all. I mean, as long as I'm being treated well, I'm not going to complain. As long as I have what I need, I'm not going to complain. And they tried. They made something out of nothing. I was in an overflow room for about a day or a little bit less than a day or so. I didn't even have a hospital bed. I was still on the stretcher. I didn't even notice that at first, but again, I didn't mind. As long as I was comfortable and whatever I need was given, that's all that mattered to me. At this point, I was feeling like okay. I mean, because I was in this room, alone, had a TV, had a door, had my work computer, had my phone, I had everything that I needed. I was pretty comfortable. It was just the anxiety, like, and the nervousness of finding out what's going on and when all this is going to end. Like, I guess the nervousness of not knowing what to expect. But other than that, I was fine. About 7 p.m. on the 5th, on February 5th, they moved me to a room and I had a roommate. I was like, okay, this is nice, okay, cool. Like, I had a hospital bed, I had, an actual room. I had a bathroom in there, I had a chair over there, place for me to put my things. It was nice. I had a nice little window in there. It was cool. In the hospital, they give you 3 meals a day. They give you breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Kind of early, but they do feed you. The food isn't all that great, but I'm not a picky eater. Like, as long as it's not like really, really bad, I'm going to eat it. Now, there were things in there that I was like, I'm not eating this. Like, I'm not about to eat this. But there were things in there I was like, oh, this ain't that bad. I mean, I had worse than this, So, I mean, I did eat the hospital food there. However, a few of my family and friends did pitch in and donated money for Uber Eats. So I did utilize that. I think I ended up getting like almost $200, and I didn't even spend all of it because I had the hospital food, and then Tim and Kennedy was making food from the house and bringing it to me, and then in between time I'll order like Uber Eats, but not a lot at all, because like I was just sitting in the hospital, like in the bed, so I didn't want to just be eating fast food and just be sitting, you know what I'm saying? Like, look, if I'm hungry, then I'll go ahead and order it. If not, then I'm not gonna do it. It was crazy. It sucked because of COVID. Like, I couldn't have no visitations at all. Like, my mom dropped me off there at the hospital. She actually came into the ER and sat there for a little bit, and today was like, oh, you can't stay in here because of COVID, yada yada yada. But we could not have no visits at all. So I was in there, couldn't have no visits. I mean, but because it's 2022 and we have phones and FaceTimes and all that stuff, that was definitely utilized, but it wasn't the same at all. Like I really needed or wanted support, like there, like physically there with me, you know. But unfortunately, we could not have visits. However, people could definitely drop things off for you, and that's it. So like Tim will come up there and drop things off for me. Like he will bring me clean clothes, and anything else that I requested, pick up dirty clothes, pick up dirty dishes, you know, drop off new food. You know, I just couldn't see him. Had to get vitals throughout the day. The vitals wasn't that bad. It was like a routine thing. That and blood work. The blood work I hated with a passion, but vitals is when they take your your blood pressure, your temperature, and put the little thingy on your finger. I was like, it's okay, ain't no big deal. But the blood work, they would come in there like every day, not like every day. They came in there every day, every morning. I think for me, they came to me like 2, 3 in the morning, every morning to get blood. I remember one morning, the girl came in my room with 11 tubes. I was like, what you need? What's that for? She had to fill all them tubes up with blood. Like, and then the line she had put, like she had in my arm, she couldn't even get all the blood like from that one. So she did half here and then half here. I was so pissed, but I will say that was the only night or the only morning that someone came in there with that many tubes. Like I've seen like 7, 5, 2, like 4. But that morning when I seen 11, I was like, I mean, the amount of blood they started to take became disgusting. Like there was some techs who would draw my blood and I don't even feel anything. I just be laying there asleep or just lay there with my eyes closed. Some techs, I'm like, you got it? You got it? You use this arm right here. Yeah, do that. I want to touch on the nurses and the doctors that I encountered. I have to say, first and foremost, everybody was so nice. They were so nice. They were so welcoming. They answered all of my questions. I never, not at one time, felt like I was bothering anybody, like at all. Like I appreciate everybody that I came in contact with. The doctors made sure that they explained everything to me and that I understood everything that was going on. The techs made sure that I had everything in between time. Anything that I needed, I hit the button on the little remote thingy and I called them and I asked for it and I got it. But while I was in the hospital, I had to really learn how to let that guard down. Like, Crystal, you don't got it all together. Crystal, you need help. Crystal, you have to ask for help. Crystal, you gotta be vulnerable. I think, and I was put in situations there where it made me very uncomfortable, but I couldn't focus on being uncomfortable. We gotta focus on the task at hand. While I was in the hospital, while I was in Georgetown, I was on a bunch of fluids because, again, my legs were like very, very swollen and I had elevated CK levels, so they had me on fluids to decrease that. They were not going to start any medicines or anything until after the biopsy. So for a few days, I was pretty much just on fluids. A lot of fluids, like dog. I was on a lot of fluids. Like it started to make me use the bathroom a lot. I had to improvise, so they gave me like the disposable underwear, so I started to use those, or I just wouldn't wear any because like it was hard. Then it was hard to get to the bathroom because a lot of the times, most of the time, I was hooked up to the IV, to this machine. So if I can make it to the bathroom, I have to get out the bed, unplug the machine if it's plugged in, take the machine with me to the bathroom, open the door, get in there. I mean, if I could not make it to the bathroom, then I would use the bedside commode. Now, I was not comfortable with using that at all at first. Like, it was right there. I was like, but when I started to have accidents, I just peed myself again. Like, I'm calling them and I come in town. I was like, look, you gotta do what you gotta do. So I had the bedside commode, and if I had to just use, do number one, like just pee, I would just use that. There was a time where I pooped on myself, like really, really bad. And I was so embarrassed. And I called the nurse in there, and I remember her coming in the room, and she didn't make me feel like I did anything wrong at all. She just kept telling me, it's okay, it's okay. In fact, she told me an embarrassing story. It wasn't a hospital story, but what happened to me happened to her. It was very, very similar. But I had to sit there and watch someone clean up my poop, and I couldn't help, you know. Or like at nighttime, because remember I mentioned that it started to get like really, really hard to go to the bathroom. So like at night, when I knew I was going to be in the bed for good that night, I would get the doctor, the nurse, or the tech to help me put in a Puric. And basically this Puric, I don't even know what to really call it. It's like it's not a urinal, but basically it's this banana shaped thing, and it goes in between your vagina, and it sucks the pee. Like, so when you pee, it's this soft part, and it just sucks it all up into this big cup, and the cup hangs on the wall, and the tech comes in, you know, and if it's full or if it has pee in it, or urine, I'll say urine sounds better. If it has urine in it, then they'll go ahead and dump it. So like stuff like that was like really, really like different. And it's like not being able to maintain self-care. But yeah, like again, I just really appreciate the nurses and the techs there. I mean, it's times where I had accidents and I needed them to clean me up. So, you know, and then like with the Puric, you know, I couldn't put that in myself. I mean, if it was uncomfortable or whatever, I could adjust it. But for the most part, the nurse, they did it. On February 7th, I received a surprise teddy bear, balloons, and cards from my cousin Dawn. And that made me like, for me, I was so happy. It was so unexpected. And I still have them. The balloons are actually right here above my desk, above my stuff. I still have everything. But yeah, that was super unexpected. I really appreciated that. It kept my spirits up. Like I would, you know, occasionally look at my balloons like. On the 9th is when I got my biopsy done. I was so scared. Like I couldn't even eat. Like I couldn't eat all day. I was starving. I was so scared. But when I went down there, they explained everything to me. They allowed me to ask questions, and they explained everything very well. My only question was, well, how do you know if I'm asleep? Like, how do you know I'm not gonna wake up? Like, so what is it gonna look like after you're done? Like, those are the kind of questions that I had, and they answered them. The only thing I didn't like is that no one told me that I could not have my ring. So I had my ring on still, and I had to take it off and give it security, and it took me like a day to get that back. Like, I didn't like that part, but I got it back. That's all that matters. But yeah, the biopsy went very well. It's my very first surgery. I never had a surgery before, but they took very good care of me. I remember going into the room, and they asked me a few questions, and then they put the little thing on my face, and then I woke up like, oh, y'all finished? That wasn't bad. My leg. That wasn't bad, you know. But then, like, even after the biopsy, like, I'm sitting in the, you know, in my hospital bed waiting for the transporters to come and get me, and I urinated on myself. Like, I mean, and granted, it's a hospital, so they have things for stuff like that. Like, they have the pads that you put on the bed so that if you do have an accident, they could just, you know, wipe you clean, take that pad away, and put a new dry clean one down. It's just a principle. Like, it just did something to me. I hated it. February 10th, I got a bad IV. Like,
they gave me an IV that hurt. It hurt so bad. Like, I had an IV in my arm since Friday, but then it started to bleed, so they had to take it out today. So they put in another one, and it started to hurt, but I adjusted a few things to make it feel a little bit better. But Dog, my arm got bigger. It started to hurt bad, like to the touch. Like it's swollen. And they are not able to tell me why the fuck that happened. And I don't want to be difficult, but I don't want nobody else. Like I'm getting stuck in my arm multiple times. Like
the IV that I had in my arm the day I got in there, I had that one in my arm for like a week. Like it stayed in there until the 10th. It came out, and then a tech put another one in there, but when she put it, it didn't feel good. It hurt. The IV hurt. So I asked them to take it out. They finally did. So I was like, look, y'all not putting, look, until my arm go down, y'all not putting nothing else in there. On February 12th, my grandma dropped off a crossword puzzle book, some pencils, and some waters that I asked for, which I really appreciated. And then on Valentine's Day, I got some stuff from Timmy. Timmy actually dropped some stuff off for me because I asked him for, I needed some more clothes and stuff. So again, he dropped some things off, picked some things up. But when the lady came back to the room, she had balloons, edible arrangements. I was like, this is so nice. You know, a card. So granted, I couldn't spend Valentine's Day with him, but he still made sure that I enjoyed mine. And I felt so bad because like we went out, like he took us out. We went out for our anniversary, which I'm glad we went. We did have a good time, but I was in pain that night. Like after we went out that night, I said, okay, I got Valentine's Day, but I had no idea I would be in the hospital. So February 15th is when I left. So I left the Georgetown University Hospital, and then I went over to MedStar Rehabilitation Hospital. I am not all that excited for this place. At Georgetown, the doctors spoke highly, the nurses, everyone spoke highly of this place and highly recommended physical therapy. When they first brought it up, I was like, yeah, no, I'm going home. I'm not going to no physical therapy. But the next day, I'm sitting here like, man, I'm no good. I need to just go ahead and get the help that I can get because, you know, you're getting 3 hours of intense therapy a day, with that being PT and OT, PT being physical therapy and OT being occupational therapy. But you're getting altogether 3 hours worth of, you know, intense therapy a day throughout the week, which is good. So I'm like, you know, let me just go ahead and go. I'm going to go ahead and go to inpatient therapy. But anyway, so I'm being transported there, and I mean, it's mixed feelings because I'm happy that I'm outside, I'm looking around, you know, just taking in the city and everything. But I want to go home. You know, I really, really want to go home. I get to the rehab hospital. There was construction being done in the front, so it was a little confusion as to how to get in and where to go, but we got that taken care of. Once the driver found someone, found a tech or whatever, we were good to go. They came downstairs to meet me at the van, and they brought a wheelchair to me, and they took me upstairs to my room and everything, and the spot was pretty nice. I mean, it wasn't a hospital, it was a step up from a hospital, you know, but the room was, you know, bigger. I had a roommate. I miss her so much. I think I had like 5 or 6 roommates throughout the whole month that I was in the hospital, and she was the best one. The room was pretty nice, you know, it was bigger. Again, it was very similar to the hospital, but not so much. It was a bit different, you know. I had a window. I had a huge window with an okay view. You know, it wasn't nothing like spectacular to see, but I was able to see deer. I was able to see trees, the birds, the sky. I was able to see everything. So the window that I had, I didn't even put the shades up. I mean, I didn't even put the shades down at all because I love to look outside. I had one of the updated beds, so like the hospital bed that, you know, I had, like, you get in it, it adjusts to your body, you can take your weight on it and some more stuff. It was pretty cool. Like, honestly, if I could go back and take anything from the hospital, I'll go take the bed and bring it home for real, because sis, at first I didn't like it at all. I got there in the evening time, and when I finally got to my room, I had my bags and everything, and the nurses or the techs and everything, they were very helpful. I mean, their motto was call, don't fall. So if you ever need anything, you call a nurse. They don't want you to fall. So anything you need it done, they will do it. The first night I was in there, I got up off the bed and stood on the side to open the bag. And the lady was like, don't do that. I was like, don't do what? Stand. I said, you telling me I can't stand up? She said no. She said not until you get your evaluation with physical therapy. I'm like, so I could not stand up on my own. They had to push me to and from the bathroom in a wheelchair. It just was, I was like, this is not it, but I eventually like got used to it because that's just their way of doing things. I just didn't like the fact that I had to call a nurse for every little thing. So I'm not gonna lie to you, I mentioned before I'm a little bit stubborn, and I am, so I didn't call a nurse every single time I needed help. I would try to call ahead of time if I knew something ahead of time, but sometimes I didn't. Like, for example, if I have to use the bathroom, like I have to go now. Because my legs were very swollen, they had me on a medication called Lasix, and that makes you go to the bathroom like a lot, so I didn't get much of a warning, so if I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, it's the bathroom, I need to be getting up to go to the bathroom like now, or I'm going to use the bathroom on myself. So they were like, make sure you call so we can take you to the bathroom, and I did, but one time I called them, they didn't come, and I urinated on myself, and I'm like, you know what, we ain't doing this no more, because we are not doing this anymore. I would use the walker and just go on my own. I did a lot of things on my own. Some things I did ask for help with because I just couldn't do it, but I didn't like the idea of having to depend on someone to do every little thing for me, because if you're not using your muscles, you're losing your muscles. And this is kind of what I wanted to touch on later on, but I'll do it now. I went into the hospital. When I went into the hospital, I wasn't as bad as this, but I sat in the hospital for a month. Majority of my time was spent in the bed. So some of these muscles, not only were they already weak, but they were not being used. So now I come home and I can't even, I'm worse than what I was before I went in there. I mean, granted, the pain isn't as bad, and I believe the pain isn't as bad because my muscle enzyme level isn't as bad. That CK level that I mentioned is not as high, but still, I move slower, I'm weaker, my legs are weaker, my hips are weaker. Like, I came out worse than what the hell I went in there as. So, the thought of having to sit and do nothing unless someone does it for me just didn't sit well with me. It just didn't. And to be honest, I did pay for that. So tonight, I had to take a shit, and I felt like I didn't need to call the nurses or adjust my socks the right way. And I ended up shitting on myself and falling on the floor and was unable to get up. February 16th is when I started my physical therapy and occupational therapy. The 17th is when I got my blanket. My mom made me this bomb blanket. Like, it's so nice. That blanket made my stay a lot better. Like, the fact that it's homemade and my mom made it makes it way better. But the blanket, along with my teddy bear that Kennedy dropped off to me, and the balloons that I got from Dawn and Timmy, those three things made the hospital stay so much better. On February 22nd, I received an edible arrangement from my job, which I was not expecting at all, but that was so sweet of them. Physical therapy was actually like not bad. We did a lot of things, and there were exercises and things that we did or that they told me to do. And when they mentioned it, or when they started to gather the tools to get it done, I'm like, I could do that. That ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? That ain't nothing. But when it was time to do the activity, I either could not do it or it was very, very hard. But anyway, PT and OT was good. PT, so PT focuses on the bottom half, like my walking, my balance, walking up the steps, my legs, stuff like that. OT is the top half. So they make sure you are good to go with self-care. You're able to move your arms, you know. So I just think of it as OT, top half, PT, bottom half. Keep it simple. The spot where we did our exercises was pretty cool. It was well lit. And this is probably where I really, I mean, I'm already a humble person, but this experience really humbled me, because I've seen people who legit could not walk. Everybody was there for different things, and I'm like, dang, like things could be worse for me. So I don't know, I just kept things very positive and optimistic, because it's not the end. So every evening we'll receive a schedule for the next day. So the tech will come in and give us a schedule and then let us know what time we're going to go see the physical therapist the next day, the occupational therapist the next day. When I went to the rehab hospital, I was no longer on like IVs. At Georgetown, after the biopsy, they put me on 500 milligram prednisone for 3 days, and then they took me off of that and they put me on an oral prednisone. So I went from like 500 milligrams to like 60. But anyway, so I got the prednisone, I got the iron, I got all these medicines. So whatever I was taking at the hospital, I was taking at the rehab hospital as well. They eventually added on the medicine for my face, for the acne. I already had acne prone skin. I already had bad acne. This steroid just made it worse. So they gave me this benzoyl peroxide. Gave me that. It says acne medication on it. This stuff right here. I don't like it, but I will say that I am somebody who never really had a facial like routine. Like I would try products and like, oh, it's not working, and then I just stop using it. Like I'm never consistent with anything, but I was consistent with that because it got so bad, but it made my skin like burn and dry. So I'm gonna go the natural route. If it don't work, then I'll go to the dermatologist and we'll try it that way. I was discharged on March 1st. I was so happy to be out of that place. Like so happy. As soon as we left, we went straight to my best friend's house and to see them, because they don't live too far from the hospital. That was so nice. I'm so glad that we did. And then they also gave me some goodies. Let me show you. This is my bag. And I'm just gonna pull this stuff out and show you guys. They gave me some shower gloves, which are really good. I use these a lot because it's hard for me to like you know when you put on like lotion or when you're like washing up, like that pressure that you put on yourself, I can't apply too much pressure because my arms weak. So stuff like this and loofers really helped me with my showers. I started eating these already. Some bath salt. Oh, I also got this body power band, but I'm not gonna probably use this yet. But once I have more strength, then I definitely will. Shower and bath gel to go with my other stuff. Oh, I have a loofah too. See, these are really good for showers. Wildberry Frosé smells really good. Pajama set, and I have not worn yet. I swore up and down I was gonna wear the night that I came home, but I haven't worn yet. But she gave me a pajama set, but when I wear it, I'm gonna flick it up. You know what I'm saying? After leaving the rehab center, they did give me medication to last me for about a month, so I'm almost due for a refill. They also gave me exercises to do when I got home, which was really good. And they provided me with resources, and they also gave me a commode, a bedside commode, a tub bench, and a walker, which was super helpful. My mom gave me a cane that she used a while ago that she don't need anymore, so I have a cane. Overall, my stay in the hospital, it was a lot. Like it's just too much to go into detail on every single day. It was a lot, but it was definitely humbling and definitely different, and I personally appreciated the experience. I wouldn't want to do it again. but I definitely appreciate the experience. But now I'm home, and once I got home, I was like, because this is so many things that you don't think about. How long is it going to be like this? I believe that this will be my life for a little bit, like temporarily, but eventually it won't be. Like, I strongly believe that I will get back to where I need to be, and it's going to take hard work because I have to regain strength and rebuild muscle and everything. All right, and that is it for now. I will see you soon so that we can talk about life after the hospital. Deuces.